Hey, what's going on, you guys? And welcome to the Finding Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Bobby, and we are officially on episode 3. Man, we got a special guest in the house, Junior himself. This guy's cool as fuck, you guys. I met him a few years ago, and I'm gonna let him share his story. But first, give me an introduction of who you are, what you do right now, and then we'll kind of, rewind back a few years
my
back.
name's Albert Lemos. I go by Junior the Barber. I own and operate a barber shop in Lancaster, California, and it's exciting.
I know, right?
You know what I mean?
I watched him grow the entire barber business in the past couple of years. So it's been very inspiring on my end to see the growth, because it's not all rainbows and sunshines.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's a lot of bullshit that comes with it, politics. But overall, I mean, the happiness is there, and
Absolutely.
the wins are there. So you do barbering. So before we get started here on your story of where you're at now, I want to know how you got here. So let's rewind about 10 years back. What was Albert doing 10 years ago?
Well, 10 years ago, Albert had, family of 6 to provide for. I was a very young father. I was working a 9 to 5, always looking for that overtime, check to check, work on Monday through Friday, hang out on the weekends, and that's how I saw it. And then that was the mindset I had and got stuck. My dad told me one time, he's like, mijo, don't get stuck here, or don't, stay in this realm, because you will get stuck. And that's exactly what happened. So I was just getting tired of, kind of being told, micromanaged, denied stuff. You know what I mean? I have my vacation, but I can't use it because you said.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But, man, raising a family, and then I just hit a point in my life where I was ready for a change, and I was ready to live for me and live for my kids, and to lead by example. And then to lead by example, I had to make a change.
Let's go back to that. You nailed it. We work and we trust the companies, and it's like, all right, they're giving us all this. We get our vacation time, and then we don't even get to use the vacation time.
Right.
It's on their terms.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, well, you can't use it around. When do we usually take vacations? Summertime, kids came out of school, holiday. Those
When
are usually
we need
fucking
it.
blacked out. Like, dude, like,
When
how
we
is that?
need
Like,
it.
yeah, I'll give you vacation in October.
Right.
Or like February. It's like, okay, not when you need it. So give me an example. What types of jobs? So myself, man, back then I did anything I can get my hands on. If you were hiring, I put the application and I try so hard, and then I just dipped out because I never wanted that job. I just chased it I needed the hours. Again, I was a young father like yourself, so I'm like, I need all these other jobs. What types of jobs were you working before this whole business venture?
Well, you see, and that's the thing. It goes back to the mindset, because I worked one job, and that was it. That was it for me. There was really no more multiple sources of income, and when you're not able to learn or even be told those things, you know what I mean? It plays a dramatic role in your life, because if you feel that you can only do one income, that's all you're going to do.
Yeah.
And then you're going to hang out on your free time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I really just did one job. I was there for freaking 13 years, man. Right out of high school, bro, 18, started working, and and then at some point I had accepted, like, maybe this is it for me. Maybe this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I almost accepted it. You know what I mean? But then as I started getting toward 30 years old, I decided to make a change. I wasn't liking where I was at. Definitely wasn't enough money to raise a family of 6. And so
13 years there you
I was there for a long time, man.
Was it hard to leave it?
No,
No, he's like,
absolutely
I was
not.
ready to
No, I was like, let me
Okay.
get out of there as quick as possible. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
So it was already led up to you as you were leaving. You've already been thinking about it, right? Like, this is it. I gotta get out. Okay. What was what made you leave the job? Was it going into where you are now, or you just left that to start something else?
Well, I started thinking to myself that, I'm not valued. I'm just a number. I'm just someone that can be switched out for somebody else. You know what I mean? So I took it upon myself to start shifting my mindset.
Okay.
You know, and so definitely I was ready for the next level because you see so much around you, and now with social media being what it is, you know what I mean? I was ready for that, you know, because I was tired of being broke and trying to raise a family. So I started at 29. I picked up a book. The first book I read was The Go-Giver. And a little short about it, it was give without the expectation of return, and you will grow in abundance. You know, so that was the first book. And then from then I just started reading, started paying for mentorship, started going. I went to a Grant Cardone event, 3-day event, listened to 16 billionaires in 3 days, sitting there taking notes.
Dang, okay.
You know, so yeah, man, I wanted something more because I didn't want to just leave my kids, you know, the same thing, just have to go to job and work somewhere to raise their families. You know, it should be more, you know, as far as generational wealth, trying to build it. Someone's got to break that curse.
Yes, yes.
You know what
So
I'm saying?
I like the fact because this is part I didn't know about you. I didn't know you were doing this transition. This is where we think, oh, he just left the job and started barbering. No, there was a whole process before that. You had to go and you went to go see events. You started reading books because, again, you had the old mindset. And there's nothing wrong with that mindset because it's what we were told.
Absolutely.
And most of our parents, that's all they knew because they didn't have anybody like telling them.
Absolutely.
So after seeing that, I'm like, okay, now I try to talk to my parents, like, all right, you know, I see you guys working hard and I appreciate it. But you can see the big gap of what social media, I guess, brought to us and the value and the information that we have now. I wish our parents, man, because I think some of our parents would have fucking
Absolutely, because
killed it, bro. Like their work ethic.
You look at it and you're wondering why so much of generational poverty is being handed down. You know, I asked my dad a question one time. I was like, you know, Dad, why didn't you buy properties when they were $5,000 each? Why didn't, you invest, when Microsoft was at its beginning? Why didn't you do any of that? And he said, son, I didn't know. So if he didn't know, my grandfather obviously didn't know, and so on. So it seems like, what we call the elite, you know what I mean? They're just setting us up to pretty much be their cash flows. Yep. You know what I mean? And at some point, it's we got to say enough is enough. You know what I mean? And be able to, like I said, take the step to lead by example, because even though it's something small, you never know who's watching.
Absolutely.
You never know who's watching, and in most of the time, it's your children. You know what I mean? So if you definitely don't want the same thing to happen to them, you got to make the change.
So lead by example, you guys. That's a banger right there. So shout out, Junior. Yeah, that's lead by example, because for the most of you, if you guys are listening right now or watching this, if you do have kids are watching, I promise you. The kids are watching whether you're going to work or not. The kids are watching whether you're fighting with your spouse.
Absolutely.
Fighting on the phone, constantly. Yeah, they're watching. So be careful. And as long as we kind of stick to the plan, like, we're going to run into little stuff like,
absolutely,
like problems and stuff.
Failure is a part of the process. Absolutely.
Now, let me ask you, as far as like your family, are they supportive of where you're at now?
Very much so. Very much so. And the biggest thing is that they've been able to grow with me. You know what I mean? Not rather than just watching me. Everything that I've been learning, they've been learning.
That's good, man.
Taking the steps.
Wifey too, because I remember the whole the t-shirt business, like everyone's hustling.
Absolutely, man. If it wasn't for her, my ride or die, you know what I mean? Always encouraging, getting me to that next step, because I would be so down on myself sometimes, and they just be like, no, come on, you can do it. Let's go.
And that's normal. Being down on yourself, having those days where like, am I doing this? Like, why am I doing this? Questioning yourself, because I feel like we don't question yourself, like.
Absolutely, and it's a big part of the process, because most of the time we're like, oh, I can't, it's too hard, you know what I'm saying? But if you're able to break through those barriers and just take the risk, no risk, no story.
There we go.
You
I
know
love
what I'm
that.
saying?
So one big thing on my end is my wife, as she's been pretty much the entire time, this whole journey for the business over here. And honestly, like, without her, I wouldn't be here. And so where I'm getting at is, if you have a spouse or like that good friend or that one person, like it matters to have people around you to pick you up when you're kind of beating yourself up. And
Right.
sometimes and I think I've talked to people before about this, and they're like, well, how do I get them on? It's easy, man. Just start inviting them places where you're going. Every time you're on that call, anytime you're going on a meeting, talk to them about it. Bring them on. Introduce them to the people you're working with. Get them involved. Otherwise, you're going to work 70 hours a week trying to build all this shit, coming back home. What are you doing? If they're not part of it, they're going to question everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, there's one thing that I did want to mention. Is when you're seeking the mentorship, or is when you're reading, or when you're looking for somebody who's helping you. You can't always expect for those events, or for those people, or for whoever's helping you to do it for you, because when I was doing that event, I just thought as I left, I was automatically going to be successful. And it's not the case. You know what I mean? You got to take the steps. You have to take the steps. You have to do the things that you're uncomfortable with. Step out of that comfort zone and do it. And then the more you do it, you'll realize the more that you're able to perfect that craft.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
So, yeah, apply. If you go to those courses, right, any courses, any events, take your notes. Take notes, write it down, because we have this whole, like, this dopamine, and, like, we're just excited to be there. We're just, oh, yeah, we're going to crush it. You go home, all those people around you are no longer there. That's why, again, it's also important to keep a circle that believes in that type of stuff, so that when you question it, they're like, nah, bro, you got this.
Mm-hmm. And absolutely, you're right, because the way I look at it is there was a lot of people that was with me in the beginning. And now, I would say most of them aren't, but when you speak of your circle, you got to remember your circle consists of your kids, your family circle. So if they're in your circle, they're in your family circle. So you have to be very, very selective on who's in your circle, because if it disrupts you, it's going to disrupt them. Yes. And that's even more like, no, like it can't happen. You know what I mean?
So with the family.
So that's what makes it easier to be more selective, because it's like, no, I'm not going to have this person around my kids. I'm not, you know what I mean? So, and it's not just because they're not a good person. It's just because, certain things that you're trying to teach your family, they might rebel against. And it's like, well, why, if you're telling me this, why are they saying that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So that is important, because now you're telling us and showing us that it's not only business, it's family, man. Like,
absolutely.
That's where it comes. And that's why I think on our end, we bring the guys in here instead of like outsourcing a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody's here because they have family. They're around my kids. My kids come here, and eventually, like, you are who you hang out with, man. I don't go out too much anymore. Actually, I don't want to say too much. I don't. Like, I have to plan a month in ahead just to fucking get out.
That's what I say all the time.
And even then, bro, like, it gets canceled. Right. And it's because we still have it in the back of the head. Oh, man, we've done this stuff, but we haven't celebrated. And it's like, I have to celebrate. And then it comes down to, I'm like, no, for what? Then I find myself, hitting up a couple of the other guys. I'm like, no, we're just trying to have a good time. I'm like, I'm straight, man. Like, that's why we're trying to build the circle. So when we go out and we have fun, they come out, they bring their kids, their family.
Absolutely.
I remember being told, like, hey, we're going to go out, leave kids at home. Who the fuck's going to watch my kids, bro? Like, what? Now, let's fast forward. Okay, so where are we at in your life now?
Now, going on 2 years, barbershop owner, 3 years as a barber. And it's amazing, bro. And I never thought I'd be at this point in my life. You know what I mean? So I have 6 barbers in my barbershop. It's called Exclusive Barber Studio, by the way.
So I
should have mentioned that. Yes. I should have mentioned that.
Now he gets to talk about the actual business and the name. And where are you guys located?
We're on 12th Street West and Avenue K, right next to Quick Key.
There you go. It's right across from
right across from McDonald's and 24 Hour Fitness.
Okay, right there where the Target is.
Yes.
So you guys know, we're gonna pop a link right here. But okay, so you're at the barber shop. You're running it now. You have 6 barbers with you. What was the transition from going to the Grant Cardone events, reading the book, and then starting the barber shop? What's that missing part right there? How did you get into the barbering?
So I had gotten hurt at Rite Aid, and I wanted to, figure something out. I had thought to myself that this is an opportunity for me to get out. You know what I mean? So I had gotten hurt, and they gave me an option. Do you want to resign, or do you want to do the surgery and keep going? So I resigned, you know, and a big inspiration to me was my cousin Chris. He's a 6-year barbershop owner now, and a 10-year barber. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to take that route, because when I had resigned from Rite Aid, I was a little bit scared. You know, I was actually really scared, because I was like, you know what, I'm going to take this opportunity to leave, and barbering wasn't even in my head yet. I was like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? I had about $45,000 in my 401k that I was going to live off of, and then I also umpired on the side. And I was like, I need to do something, but what? So it took me at least a week to kind of gather myself together and pick it all up. So, like I said, with my cousin Chris, he was the one that was always supportive with, you know, he went to the events with me and stuff like that. So I decided, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. Because if he can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? Because we grew up together. We went through the same experiences, you know, the same lifestyle experiences. So I started Barber School.
Okay.
You know, right after that thought. And I signed up.
Was it out here?
It was out here, American Beauty College, you guys. Check them out. So I went full time. I decided, you know what, I have this money in my 401k. I'm going to live off of this for an entire year, because I was making $40,000 a year at Rite Aid anyways. You know, so I went 8 to 14 hours a day, wanting to get it done. I was able to finish in 13 months.
Okay.
You know, and then within the time before I finished, I was able to start at a barbershop. They gave me my shot, you know, 6 months before I even graduated, which was awesome. You know, by the way,
shout out to them. Yeah,
absolutely.
Just to get that experience.
I was, you know, becoming a barber. I was like, how am I going to be in another man's space? You know what I mean? Because that's timid, you know. But I was like, you know what? In the barber realm, this is a sanctuary for that. It's a safe zone.
Yeah, we go for
you know,
that. Like, we go.
Absolutely for that. Just all right, relaxation. You know. So finishing up school, did my barber test. You know, but then the COVID hit. Mm-hmm. I was able to get my license right before COVID hit. I got my license in 2020. COVID hit, and then we were like, okay, what now? You know, because if I'm not working in a shop, I'm not making any money for my family. So I had to put my head together. And
barbers got hit fast,
man.
Tattoo and barbershop,
really fast,
quick,
really
man.
fast.
They're like, you're too close to people, and I was like, damn, dentist, barbershops, like,
breathe it out, everybody. You know?
Yeah, you guys got hit hard, man.
Really hard, man. So I had to put something together really quick. So what I did was this house that I just started renting, we had a big back room, and you know, I said, you know what, I had some cash. Oh, well, let me rewind a little bit.
Yeah,
in that time,
this is when we started. We met was right after COVID hit, and then this is when I ran into you.
Absolutely, and it started with what? I think I had sold my house, right? Mm-hmm. I had sold my house on 50th West, and that's what led to me renting the property that I was at. But having that capital allowed me to be able to say, like, you know what? I'm not in a shop right now. Let me build a barbershop at the house.
Yes.
And I built a barbershop at the house, you know, and guys, having capital or any type of liquid is such an important thing to have, because you're able to do so much with it. You know what I mean? And when I say so much with it, it doesn't mean going and buy fancy things. No. It means able to invest into yourself, to put into your business. And at that point, I didn't realize that I was starting a business. I just thought, you know, I have somewhere to work at my house. You know, I don't have to go anywhere. So I was able to put 4 chairs at the house. You know, my cousin Robert, who was also going to barber school, he started, you know, COVID affected him as well. He came to the house. I had 4 chairs set up. And he said, you know what, cuz, go ahead and start working right here. You know what I mean? So he started working with me. And we kind of had a little thing going, you know. But at that point, I was like, okay, so how am I going to get people to come to the house? You know what I mean? I already had my regulars from people that were hitting me up. So I started hitting social media. You know, I wasn't on social media through my whole 20s. And now being a barber at 32, I was like, okay, maybe I should get an Instagram now so people can know who I am.
Good, you know,
see my cuts and whatnot. And so I started hitting the advertising hard, you know, the marketing. and putting it out there. And slowly but surely, you know, people started coming through. You know, they started hitting me up. Hey, I hear you're cutting hair, you know, and we kind of hit a standstill. So that was going well, you know, for a good month or two. People were hitting us up. People were coming through. So our income didn't stop. You know, COVID hit. It took me about maybe half a month to get the shop started. And so we didn't really lose much out on as far as income.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No,
But so I had hit my first speed bump. I had received a letter from the city of Lancaster. The city of Lancaster had told me that I'm conducting business. How do you say it? Like, I don't want to say illegally, but improperly.
Yeah, improperly.
You know, as far as like licenses and stuff like that. And then I also got another letter from the state board, Barbering of Cosmetology State Board. And I was like, hold up. I have gotten the one from the city with pictures of the house, people coming in, and then I get one from the state saying that I'm not properly licensed to do business in California as a proper barbershop. So that kind of hit me hard, you know, because it's like, why is somebody or, you know, people worried about what I'm doing when I'm just trying to raise my family?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that feeling right there, how did that feel?
Man, it was
Fucked
just
up,
like
huh?
my heart sank, you know. It's like someone took an arrow and shot it right through my chest.
Because you guys just had finished building and everything.
We had just finished
put
building
the
it,
money
man.
in
We
it.
put the money in, you know, and I took the time to continue to start, you know, growing my mindset, reading, listening to people that I look up to. And then to kind of have that first speed bump, it hit hard because it's like, why would somebody want to stop somebody from making money for their family? You know, so fast forwarding from there, I said, you know what? I'm just going to go legit. So I took the steps right away within the next few days. As soon as I got those letters, I went to the city. I had called the state because there's nowhere for them to go for them.
Yeah.
But so I got in a hold of them, you know, and I took the steps to get my proper licensing. And I do want to give a big shout out to Robert Quazera Sneaks. He's the owner of Dead Man Studio.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but bangers.
Man,
from
that
him,
man, bro,
He's a
20
OG.
years, and if you have seen his story and where he's come from, you know, he's definitely got to be on a podcast.
So
for
Mr.
sure.
OG Sneaks,
Yeah.
somebody gets on a podcast, but
So-
I might need him to tattoo me first.
Yeah, absolutely,
Just
right?
so
I'm
you
still
get
trying
that.
to get
I know.
in.
He's a
But,
beast, bro.
you know, he had just purchased his first commercial building, and he had a spare space, and, you know, he was just going to use it for himself. And Robert, he said, you know what, bro? And he's offered it to me before I had another location, but I wasn't ready, you know?
Yeah.
And Robert told me, he's like, look, bro, I got this space, and it couldn't have been at a better time. Couldn't have been at a better time because of what just happened, you know, with the city, the state. And so I was like, you know what, let's do it. Let's go. And I still had some capital from my house that I had just sold, you know? So I was like, okay, I'll put in a little bit more, and we'll get this business started. And so I had a barber with me named Carlos Littleman.
Okay.
And he's the one, you know, I had started working with him at the first shop that I was at. And he was the one that he's also a 10-year barber that gave me that insight on what it takes to open up a shop. Because he's worked at so many, so he's been able to see what it's about. And without his guidance, you know, with me putting up my capital and getting the proper licenses and stuff like that, I mean, man, Exclusive wouldn't be where it's at today. Definitely, man, for sure, because that's where it starts. You know, it's got to start here, and then it comes out the pocket. That, you know, that's the easy part, but it goes right here. You know what I mean? So Carlos was a big aid to that. You know, and I can go on about quite a few people that were there and helped. You know what I mean? But
So just supposed to say a huge shout out to them.
huge shout out to everybody, man, that's been there for my growth and my journey. You know, so fast forwarding a little bit more, you know, it was just me and Carlos in the shop. You know, Exclusive Barber Studio was officially opened.
Now this is when? This is 2021?
This is 2020.
2020, okay.
2020. So the same year I got licensed is the same year I opened a barbershop. And I had told myself when I started barber school, I'm going to open my own shop one day. And I gave myself 5 years.
That's when it starts, right? It's when it's already here before
Yes.
you even get to where
You have to manifest it.
Yeah.
You have to manifest what it is that you're looking to do. You know, because if you don't speak it into existence, then the actions don't take place.
Absolutely.
You know, so I never thought that getting licensed, I would have a shop the same year. You know what I mean? So
everyone around you probably told you or thought you were crazy. Nah, dude, you got to put in the work, experience and stuff like that. Or you can't just.
And I had some that were doubtful.
That's what I'm saying. Most of them are gonna be like, dude,
doubtful.
You're crazy. You can't just go open up a shop. You just got your license. What are you doing? That's not what it's about.
Right, man. And I had some that took it offensive, the way that I was talking and talking about growth and where I want to be, you know, and they felt like I was just talking down on them. And I was like, no, I want you to grow with me. Let's go, man. Let's go do this. So
yeah. So would you say stress, doubting, is this part of the plan, right? It's part of the game.
Absolutely. And if you try to weed it out, it's a bad step to take.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because having those doubts and being very scared and frightened and being afraid to fail.
Yeah.
You know, being afraid to fail is a part of it. So you got to have those things because those is what you turn around and boost up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So fast forwarding to now, you know, we're going on 2 years in business. I have an amazing staff. Because at first it was, you know, I was trying to bring people with me and dragging them along. And then I realized, like, you know what? I end up hurt in the end because of it, because of all the effort you put into somebody, and in the end they don't want it. You know what I mean? So now I only want to, I want to help everybody as much as I can. And it starts with sharing the story or even sharing a little insight to the mindset. But those that you take your extra step on are those that gravitate toward you.
Yes.
That come to you. Hey, how do I do this? Hey, how do I do that? Or can you look at this for me? Can you look at that for me? And I will say that I have an amazing staff. Carlos, Tony, Fabian, Johnny, Ivan.
Ooh,
great barbers, man.
That, man. That's a
great
lot of
barbers.
names,
you know
man.
what? Because they all want to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They all take the necessary time to perfect their craft, and to grow and to outgrow Exclusive. You know, that's the goal. You know what I mean? Because essentially they are their own business working for Exclusive.
Yeah.
They don't, working with Exclusive, excuse me. They don't work for Exclusive. They work with Exclusive, getting their business off the ground. Because that, being a licensed barber, that's what it entitles you to, you know, to be your own boss, 1099. So what if you're working at a shop that's still micromanaging you, then you don't really feel that? You know what I mean?
How are you supposed to grow? And that's how you know you're a leader, bro, because you run into other people where they want to trap because they feel like, I've invested all this time in them. They leave, they'll start, it's like an it's competition. And nah, man, like grown ass adults, man. What the
exactly.
fuck?
And then you become a cash cow for that owner.
Yeah,
you know
man.
what I mean?
And it's the more people you have on your side, the bigger in life and happiness comes. It's that more important to send someone off, give them what you can teach them, inspire them, push them out there, make them grow because they have their own family.
Absolutely.
And naturally, some people don't want that shit.
Mm-mm.
Naturally, they want to show up. They want to have a good spot, a good place, an environment to be around, and that's enough. And that's okay with me too. But for the most part, you do want them to get what they can, build themselves up, because
Absolutely.
that's how ultimately they're going to make their real money and then change their lives, change their family lives. So, yeah, shout out to that one. That was dope, bro.
We're huge tools.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people got to use that, utilize that, because that's what we're here for. You know what I mean? And speak it into existence, you know? You can have a conversation with somebody, but doesn't necessarily mean they're listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But because I've been told, like, why do you waste your time saying that? Or why do you waste your time on that person? I said, you know what? I'm going to speak only what I want to speak. Because if I speak other stuff that's irrelevant, then it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I only speak what I want to speak. And if people don't, like, they don't vibe with it, then that's okay. That's okay, because that's on them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It is completely up to them to how they want to live and to intake their life. You know what I mean? So I'm going to continue to say it and speak it into existence, you know, as far as the mindset, the growth, what it takes. And, you know, and I will say, since I've started doing that, I have about a good 10 to 20 clients now that I've helped start portfolios when it comes to the crypto game, comes to the investing game. I have a good another handful that come to me, not just for a haircut, but to get advice on life skills and life, you know, stuff that they go through. You know what I mean? So that it's a big blessing and good feeling to know that people are coming to me now, not just for my haircuts. You know, they're like, oh, the haircut is the bonus.
Yeah, that's the bonus.
You know,
part,
that's the bonus part of it.
So much value just from over your years of putting in the work, their mindset. I want to just rewind back a little bit, because the moment of getting hurt, leaving the company, taking out 401k, all of that stuff is the moment usually people back the fuck off. They say, this isn't going to work. There's no way this can happen. This is where the other spouse says, you're crazy. You can't do this. We can't do this. What about our kids? And this is a moment where the leaders are born, and they take that risk. And I think that's the missing part is, if you don't have anything and all you have is whatever in your pocket, and you're willing to invest whatever you have in your pocket because you believe that much that it's going to come back, even if we don't have money for the family, just trust me, I promise you, it's going to come, because you believe that
Absolutely.
much. And then what happens? Fast forward, you have multiple staffs, great staff, clients building, and now your clients talk to you about other stuff. They're building their own wealth because of the work you put in. And other people, they'll show up, just talk about their problems real quick, cut the hair, totally fine. But when someone's willing to listen and you have the value, bro, you're helping change lives just through a haircut. And they don't even realize that, man, right now. One day they're going to come back 10 years later and be like, damn, I got all this stuff. They're going to ask them, well, how? Oh, my barber. What? Yeah. So that's the important part. I personally, for me, that I took away is you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it. Even when you feel like the world's kind of telling you, all right, you can't work. I'm going to take you out of work for a bit. I'm going to stress you out. But then you're like, you know what? Go ahead. I still know that I can do this.
Absolutely. Because I had hit rock bottom when I had left that job. And before even thinking I was going to be a barber, I had left anyways. You know what I mean? And that was rock bottom for me. It was the most scariest part of my life, because it's like, how am I going to feed my family? How am I going to pay my mortgage for my family to have somewhere to lay their heads? You know what I mean? So that fear was what sparked something under me, and I ran with it.
That's you know what I mean? That's the part. And a huge shout out to Chris, because that little part of that moment in your life, and then his inspiration.
Absolutely.
It's just like
his hard work and his everything. I've seen him also from where he started to where he's at now. You know, making $19,000 on crypto.com. Look at that. Within 3 weeks, I'm like, you the man.
Yeah, and really, it is not easy, because I watch these guys have their little gatherings, and it's work, but you're willing to put in the work and risk it, and there's a big reward for that.
Absolutely.
Now the people are like, yeah, but what if you lose money? But you know, what if you don't?
Right.
What if you don't?
Absolutely.
We're always so on the negative part, but what if?
But you got to remember, it can't always be a win.
No.
Sometimes you got to evaluate your risk to reward, and say that you have 10 wins as opposed to 3 losses. You know what I mean? Those 3 losses may be big, but those 10 wins are bigger.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
This goes in any industry, anything in your life, anything in your life. Focus on the wins, man. And like, if we're always going to get the losses, and as we get older, we hear that phrase, well, no, losses are lessons. Absolutely. Like, if you learn from that shit, take it, go get some more wins. Know that you're going to get some losses. Who cares? I'm in it to win it. Losses are going to be part of the game.
Absolutely, man.
So fast forward, you are here, Exclusive Barber Shop over on Avenue K, right? It's
K and 12th West.
Right across from Target, McDonald's, 24-Hour Fitness, if you're in the Antelope Valley.
Check us out, man.
We're still in Los Angeles County. Any final message you want to say to someone that's listening that is looking to start either a business or cutting hair, or just in that boat to where the world's coming down? I don't know what to do. What do I do?
Well, the biggest message that I can give is just do it. You know what I mean? Take the risk. No risk, no story, because you're bigger than you feel. You're bigger than you actually think that you are. You know what I'm saying? But it just just always remember that you can do anything that anyone out there can do. You can accomplish the same goals. You can make the same money. You can be the one to break that generational curse in your family and create generational wealth. But one thing I will say is just make sure that you guys are definitely taking the steps. Definitely take the steps because it's not just, being successful financially or in your pocket. It's being successful in your mind. You know what I mean? Because that's where it starts. That's where things are going to try and break you down and bring you up. And it all starts up here. So if you're able to take control of it, because your brain is a huge muscle. You know what I mean? And how do you get big muscles? You work them out. So the way that we work out our brain is to read, is to listen, is to absorb. And then you take everyone, you intake everyone that everyone is helping you with, and everything that you're intaking, you analyze it, and then you interpret it into your own way. Interpret it into your own way, and then you will see the results with consistency and consistency and consistency, and with the people that are there by your side for sure.
All right, boss man. So that is it. Episode 3 is officially wrapped up. Appreciate you swinging by the studio. What's your guys' Instagram handle?
Our Instagram handle is Exclusive Barber Studio with an underscore at the very end.
We'll pop it up right here. You guys, if you're watching this or listening to it, head over and take a look at what he's doing over there. At the end of the day, it's always going to be more than a haircut. It's more than a podcast. It's a story, man.
It's definitely a story. We all got our story to share.
Yes, sir.
It needs to be heard.
All right, boss. Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely, Bobby. You already know, man. Thank you, bro.
All right, guys. We'll see you in episode 4. Peace.
Peace out.